Welcome back to Boba Painting. Before we begin today, I'm going to ask you to please like and subscribe. Helps my channel if you do, so very appreciated. Today I'm going to take you step by step through one of my portrait paintings. And this painting is of Tony Babb, the father of one of my close friends from high school, Suzanne. I had the pleasure of knowing him as a high schooler in the 80s in the Philippines, as well as an adult with my family for the last 20 years, celebrating Thanksgiving with him and their family and my friend. Although his voice wasn't as booming as it had been in the 80s, whenever I could hear his voice resonating through the house, I felt lucky to be near such a dear person and someone so special. His visage was extremely striking as well, and I knew that when I embarked upon portrait painting that I'd want to try to capture him as well. As with all portraits, there's a deep sense of responsibility when you do someone's image, because it's someone people recognize and identify with, and you're not just trying to, get the proportions on the face correct, but capture their spirit and essence as well. So, not without a lot of trepidation, I embarked on painting him, and at the advice of my painting teacher, Martina, I did it in black and white, which I felt suited his gravitas and the meaning of the painting for me. So the first step I do is to draw a simple cross to create the quadrants on the canvas and the reference image. Then I place a quick sketch using the lines as my guide for placing the features and the edges of the head, the hair, etc. These are not set in stone in any way, but they get me started. You'll see that this painting goes through several transformations before it looks good. The next step is to lay out the general shading of the image. This is an area I'm working on. I need to be more assertive and start using the colors of the actual image instead of the sort of watered down, timid ones that I'm more comfortable with. Believe it or not, these light shades of gray are already an improvement from where I used to start with the painting, especially a portrait. Next, you can see the deepening of the shades and working my way across the canvas so that everything is covered. For those other beginners out there, this is a key piece. You need to cover the whole canvas. And the sooner you get some paint everywhere, the sooner you'll start making progress in both the painting you're working on and your painting in general. At the start of my next session, I took a moment to really assess where I needed to make my big corrections to the landmarks of his face. I use a technique that Martina introduced me to of creating a collage of the face bisected in half, where you compare the same half of the face in the painting and the photograph side by side, doing the left side, the right side, the top, the bottom. So 4 sets of collages that make it very easy to see where the changes need to be made. For example, when you look at these, I needed to shorten and widen the nose, raise the hairline, and change the angle of his mouth. I did a lot of work on that day, and even though I knew there was still a lot of adjusting to be done, I felt like I really made a lot of progress in creating a more realistic looking person during this second session. The image is starting to transform from a line drawing into a more realistic looking 3-dimensional person. When I came back to the portrait a couple days later, I again reassessed the proportions. With these, I was quickly able to see that I needed to further adjust the eye sockets, to shorten and widen the nose some more, deepen the nasal folds, and still shift his mouth upwards to the right more. You can see that I made the biggest leaps forward during this 2-hour session. Basically, I kept adjusting and the positions of the features and then photographing the painting to see if they still look like they were in the correct position or not. And then I nudged them a bit more until I was pretty happy with the overall result. The biggest challenge, and this is true for every portrait, were his eyes. Besides getting the proportions right and making sure they were placed correctly, I really wanted to capture both the intensity and the simultaneous, somewhat paradoxical kindness of his gaze. Conveying Tony's essence was the most important thing to me. I ended the session by marking up a photo of where I ended that showed me what I needed to work on when I started next. Continue to make the adjustments to the same areas: the mouth, the nose, and the eyes. The landscape or the landmarks of his face were correct at this point, and now I wanted to make sure that the values of the colors in his face were correct. But overall, I was very happy with this portrait, and more importantly, my friend Suzanne really loves it. I already gave Suzanne the painting, so I don't have it here in person with me. But thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you found that interesting. And before I go, please like and subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.